What's up, everybody? My name is Scott Paddock, and today we are going to talk about which B flat you should use on your saxophone and why. You've got 3 B flats on your saxophone, and today we are going to talk about which one you should use in which setting and why. So to start off, let's talk about the most common B flat and the one that you usually learn when you're learning the saxophone in the beginner books. And that is A with the side key. So it's fingered with an A and your bottom side key. Sounds like this. And usually in your beginner books, that is the B flat that you're taught. So we're going to call that A with a side key or your regular B flat throughout this whole video. So that B flat is the one that you want to use when you're playing scale-wise motion. Scale-wise motion means you're going up and down the scale. For example, in an F scale, you would have F, G, A, B flat, C, and coming down you have C, B flat, A. So whenever you're doing scale-wise motion, you want to use your regular B flat or your A with the side B flat or your A with the side key B flat. So it sounds like this. Now, why do we want to use the A with the side key B flat in scale-wise motion? The answer is pretty easy. We don't want to flip-flop. Your general rule is don't flip-flop. So when I show you your next B flat, which is your Bisbee Flat, you'll understand what I mean by don't flip-flop. So our next B flat is our Bisbee Flat, which is fingered with a B, and use this little key below it, which is your Bisbee Flat key. So you push those two at the same time with the same finger. And again, it sounds like this. And you can see when I finger the regular B flat, the A with the side key, they're pretty much the same note. So that B flat, the Bisbee Flat, is used primarily when you're jumping. So if I had like a G minor 7 chord and I was going G, B flat, D, F, that for sure is going to be way easier to use than using my A with a side key. That's going to really slow me down if I'm going really fast, if I have to come over here to the side. Now, if I just use my front Bisbee Flat, I can get going really fast with it. I could never go that fast if I was going on the side. Now, back to our A with the side key B flat. When I said you don't want to flip-flop. Flip-flop meaning if we're going from Bisbee Flat to C, you're never going to sound clean, especially if you're going really fast. It's just always going to have that little sloppy feel to it. Whereas if you use your A with the side key and just lift your front finger, that's going to be really clean. When you're using scale-wise motion, you want to use A with the side key. If you're jumping, you want to use your Bisbee Flat. Now, those rules aren't 100% of the time. Every now and then you're going to want to flip-flop, or you're going to use your Bisbee Flat when you probably should use your A with the side key B flat. Just because it's more convenient, especially when you're improvising. But your general rules are A with the side key when you're doing scales and Bis when you're jumping around. Okay, so there is another B flat. There's actually 3 other B flats, but they're all the same. They're called 1 and 1. So it'd be 1 on your left hand, your B key, and 1 on your right hand, which would be your F key, but it also works with your F sharp key or your D key, any of them. Now, what I tell my students when it comes to this B flat, especially in the beginning, is that it doesn't exist. In other words, never use it. But there is some use for it. But in the beginning, I just say that B flat doesn't exist. And it definitely doesn't exist if you're going to use it to hold a B flat. The reason for that is because on most saxophones, it's flat. So here's my Bisbee Flat, and then I'll go with my 1 and 1 B flat, and you'll hear the tone difference. Do you hear that 1 and 1 B flat slides down in pitch, no matter which right hand key I use? None of them are as consistent as the Bis B flat or the A with the side key B flat. Those are essentially the same sounding note on my saxophone. So when should we use a 1 and 1 B flat? The answer is if you're doing grace notes. They're great for grace notes, or like scoops or slide into notes. So if I'm going into this B and I want to come from a half step below, it doesn't get any easier than that. Just 1 and 1, flip it up. So it really doesn't get any easier than 1 and 1 for grace notes. So that is your main use for 1 and 1 B flats. So let's do a little recap. For your B flats, when you're trying to figure out which one to use, you need to figure out the context of the song that you're playing it in. So if you're doing scale-wise motion, you want to use A with a side key. If you're jumping, you want to use Bis. And if you're using grace notes, you want to use 1 and 1. And for grace notes, you can use any of the 1 and 1s. Any of those fingers work fine. So why do we use these 3 specific rules for B flats? The answer is to develop really good technique. When you're playing at a moderate speed, you're really not going to hear the difference between the A with a side key B flat and the Bisbee Flat if you don't follow the exact rules. But as you speed it up and as you play faster and faster, you are definitely going to be able to hear the difference. And when you use the correct fingerings, it's going to make playing some passages way easier. So you're just better off to learn the correct technique from the beginning and make that a regular part of your playing. So I hope that answers the mystery of why do you have so many B flats on your saxophone and which one should you use and why. Thanks for taking the time to check this video out. I hope you found it helpful, and if you did, I would really appreciate it if you would give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and share it with your friends. If you have any questions, hit me with a comment, and if you have any suggestions for future videos, please also hit me with a comment. Thanks a lot.